New numbers coming in about Canada's real estate market. Is the market heating up or cooling down? Also, a Toronto home that went for under the asking price. I'm Affan Chowdhry. Welcome to Globe Now. So it was a sluggish winter for the Canadian real estate market, and a lot of people are looking very closely at the summer numbers. Latest figures from the Canadian Real Estate Association show home sales were 11.2% higher compared to a year ago. Average sale price was also up 6.9%. Well, joining us now is Globe and Mail real estate reporter Tara Perkins. Welcome, Tara.
Thanks for having me.
What does this data tell us about the rebound from the winter?
That the market's really strong right now. It's showing way more strength than expected for June as it did for May. Sales have risen for 5 months in a row. They're higher than they've been in years. This at a time when many economists and the central bank had been calling for things to sort of slowly peter out into a soft landing.
So what are the hot markets right now?
Hamilton is one of the somewhat surprising ones, but the ones that we hear a lot about. Calgary, very, very hot this year, probably the hottest in the country. And Vancouver and Toronto, bouncing back from the slumps that they had earlier, are all pulling up the national averages.
And where are things cooling off?
In the east of the country. The eastern part of the country is still not seeing, when we talk about this great strength in the Canadian market, they're probably looking at us a little bit skeptically because they're not seeing it so far. Montreal now is starting to show some strength, which people attribute to the provincial election in part. After a lengthy slump.
Now, I'm reading stories about the Canadian real estate market beating expectations. I'm reading stories about the Canadian real estate market cooling off.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
It's generally beating expectations. If you factor out Calgary, if you factor out some of those hot markets, then the national picture, as I mentioned, isn't as strong as the headlines that we're seeing all the time. And so that's in part what people are talking about. But whether you look at new construction, at housing starts, at building permits, at home sales, at prices, they're all generally very strong right now.
But there are also warnings. I mean, there are warnings from Fitch Ratings, Morningstar. Yes. What do you make of the warnings?
Fitch Ratings reiterated its view this week that it thinks home prices are 20% too high. It's been saying that for about a year now. Those cautionary notes are still out there, right? We've got Jim Flaherty, our former finance minister, was very worried about them. We've got a finance minister now, Joe Oliver, who doesn't seem to be quite as worried about the housing market being overvalued or about a potential bubble forming, and Ottawa's being a bit more laissez-faire. But in the meantime, we've got low mortgage rates continuing to fuel the market, and so these people are kind of reiterating their views that, hey guys, we should be watching this just to make sure it doesn't continue to bubble up.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Tara. Well, we want to hear from you. What do you make of the latest report on Canada's real estate market? And how concerned are you about reports that the market is overpriced and that a correction is looming? Tweet us at Globe Now. Now, staying with real estate, Toronto house prices are up 7.4% compared to a year earlier, according to the latest numbers. And the stories about bidding wars and homes going for way over asking price are a dime a dozen. But when it comes to the condo market, it's a different story. Prices have been cooling off. Take a look at this Toronto unit, which sold for under asking.
We are at 38 Earl Street, which is at Sherbourne and Wellesley, and it's a great downtown location. This is a unique property, something unlike most condos in the city. It was once a mansion and was converted to 13 townhome units. This one is spectacular. It's a beautiful 1-bedroom and 1-bath unit, 1,250 square feet on 2 levels. It's beautifully renovated throughout. It's full of windows and light, really high ceilings. The kitchen is absolutely stunning. They spent about $30,000 renovating this kitchen about a year ago, with a wine fridge and incredible cabinetry, beautiful granite counters. It's just stunning, very unique. Crown molding, beautiful hardwood throughout. It's just a gorgeous unit. We had the property listed for $529,000. And it ultimately sold for $520,000. It was on the market for 34 days, and we had approximately 15 showings.
Well, that's all for today's show. If you've got a moment, hop onto Twitter and tell us what you think. Was that a fair price for that townhouse condo unit in downtown Toronto? Also, share your stories about the real estate market and its affordability where you are. Tweet us at Globe Now. I'm Affan Chowdhry. Thanks for watching.